Welcome back to another Chatterbox reaction. Now, we haven't been around for a while, but we're back with a bang and we're excited to get going again. Now, before I introduce what we'll be presenting today, let me straight off by introducing the crew. Let me first introduce the lady herself, Maarya. How are you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Just recovered from COVID. How are you doing, P?
I'm fantastic. How did it take it out of you a lot?
It did. I'm like still tired. Like my sleep schedule is messed up.
Okay, all right. Good thing you're still alive. All right, so now let's move on to RV. How are you doing? You good, RV?
I'm all right. Just trying to not melt in this heat. I'm really not used to like these temperatures. In London, we're kind of used to maybe 20 something, 25 maybe in summer, and like 30 plus is just not cutting it, man. It's too hot. I'm melting over here.
Yeah, it is really, really hot at the moment. I see most of my friends going literally red. Last but not least, it is the South London Skanker Sean. How are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, people? Yeah, no, I'm good, you know. I know you lot complain about the weather, but for me, I'm enjoying the sunshine. Like, nice having the windows and the doors open, getting some fresh air circulating throughout the house. So, yeah, for me, long may it continue and we can all cool down in the winter. So, yeah, for me, I'm happy.
Well, the good thing about it being so hot, we're not having to turn on the central heating and then having huge bills because anyone in India, I don't know if you've been hearing, gas prices are getting out of control over here. It's basically a mortgage to pay your gas and electricity bill. You have to have 5 jobs now, not 2. So you have to have 5 just to cope. So, wow. So let the heat continue. Let it be sweltering as long as it can be. But anyway, let's jump straight into what we'll be reacting today. Maarya, what will we be reacting to today?
So we're watching a video on is India taking over the VFX industry? So I'm assuming the title is pretty explanatory as to what we're watching.
Absolutely not. Explain more. No, just kidding. All right, hit it. Let's check it out.
In 2011, the size of the Indian VFX industry was around $31 billion. But within 10 years, it has risen to massive $74 billion. With international companies like MPC, Double Negative, Framestore or Digital Domain establishing their offices there, and now shifting from rotoscoping and cleanup to creative visual effects creation, India's VFX industry will surely continue to grow. Having its own huge film industry, India has also established its own VFX companies over the years. What made the Indian VFX industry rise constantly in the last decade? Let's find out. This video is sponsored by F-Truck, the creator of Academy Award and Emmy-winning production tracking and media review solutions for VFX and other creative industries. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this video, and now let's talk about India's VFX industry. The turning point was in the 1990s when CGI, computer-generated imagery, started gaining importance, and that was also noticed by the Indian industry. Soon, Indian companies decided to advance themselves to match with international competitors. Until recently, everyone associated India with rotoscoping. It was the #1 place for outsourcing this kind of work. Also, so-called paint and cleanup work, which usually means wire removal and manually painting out unwanted objects, was being sent to India.
Wow.
Big VFX companies, like the mentioned MPC, have established their branches in India to have their own teams for such work. However, a gigantic film industry, there's around 1,800 films being produced in India each year compared to around 700 made in Hollywood, clearly developed a need for visual effects. Due to relatively lower budgets, those effects had to be created locally, and so India's VFX studios began to emerge. Prime Focus, Makuta VFX or Red Chilies are just a couple of examples of India's VFX powerhouses. Those companies are responsible for some amazing effects created for Indian films, but they begin to spread on international productions. Red Chillies is one of the leading firms in the country that has now more than 300 artists working for them. Their scope of work ranges from beauty work, environments and set extensions, creature creation and FX simulations. Their credits include some Indian blockbusters, but they also had a bite on international productions like Sin City 2 or League of Gods. VFX is not just about film projects. Commercials are today in demand for visual effects as well. One of the leading firms, named Famous Studios, claims to deliver 15 to 20 TV ads each month with heavy VFX work. Along with the VFX industry, the animation studios in India bloom, and companies like Green Gold Animation or Toons Animation are producing dozens of animated films and series for Indian and international markets. India's VFX industry is quickly catching up with the latest technology trends. It's no different with the virtual production. Stages with LED screens, as originally used in the production of Mandalorian, are being built in India and were used to continue producing movies during the pandemic. Actually, despite the massive impact of COVID-19, the animation industry in India grew by 10% in 2020, while the whole economy was going down. Some of India's biggest films featuring heavy VFX work include Bahubali,
These set pieces are the best.
produced in 2015 with a budget of approximately $28 million and 90% of the movie having some kind of visual effects, created by 17 VFX studios and around 600 artists. In 2022, a third part of this film will be released.
Heard about that.
2018 science fiction film, being the most expensive Indian film so far, with around $76 million budget. Visual effects were created by Double Negative and 22 other companies,
It's funny, double
and
negative.
animatronic effects by US-based Legacy Effects, known for Avatar, Avengers or Jurassic World. Zero, a 2018 romantic comedy for which the main actor's height had to be reduced to around 137 centimeters. Visual effects were provided by Red Chillies VFX. Over the years, the demand for visual effects all over the world has increased dramatically. VFX studios were opening branches in different parts of the world to catch up with the demand and to gain access to new artists. In the meantime, VFX artists in India gained experience and were now ready to move from simple tasks to more demanding ones. This is especially visible with Double Negative. The London-based VFX company was bought by Indian Prime Focus in 2014. Originally, DNEG's Indian offices were taking over rotoscoping and cleanup work, but recently we see that more complex work, like compositing or FX simulations, are being done in their Indian branches. That was the case with Dune, Matrix Resurrections, or the Uncharted. The rapid growth of India's VFX industry is also influenced by government financial incentives and wider education possibilities, with universities offering VFX and animation studies. Some of the most known are Anibrain School of Media Design, MAAC, Maarya Academy of Advanced Cinematics, National Institute of Design, or Sanpet University. Despite VFX industry growing constantly since the last decade, The younger generation in India and their parents are still facing difficulty getting out of the century-old mindset of pursuing career in law, government service, engineering or healthcare. But the career trends are quickly changing. Visual effects industry gets more recognition and starts offering good financial conditions. Junior VFX artists in India can earn around 150 to 350 US dollars per month. Mid-level artists can expect $400 to $800, and senior VFX artists earn up to around $1,500 per month. Lead
That's
artists
crazy
and
low
supervisor
salary.
salaries can be substantially higher. India's VFX industry has now managed to grab 10% of the global market and is expected to rise by 25% in 2025. India will definitely take a large chunk of world's VFX production. However, with growing demand for visual effects and rising salaries in India, I don't think that we would see an outflow of jobs from Europe or America. Huge number of film and episodic productions for numerous streaming platforms will simply create new opportunities for VFX artists around the world, including India. Now back to our sponsor, F-Track. F-Track solutions help everyone involved in the visual effects process to collaborate and interact seamlessly, whether they're in the same office or working remotely. If you're looking for a way to manage your creative projects and overcome the pipeline and collaboration challenges faced by many of today's visual effects productions, then you should try F-Track. F-Track's products are used by major VFX studios and help producing some of the biggest blockbusters. You can try out all of F-Track's products, including F-Track Studio, F-Track Review and CineSync for free at ftrack.com. Let me know in the comments what do you think about VFX industry in India and if it could become the supplier of leading VFX artists in the world. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Wow, wow. It's very fascinating. I am a guy who really loves his visual effects. I love behind the scenes. I love just seeing it on screen. But before I say anything, let's hear your viewpoints on it. What do you think, Maarya?
Oh, okay. So firstly, I thought it was really interesting that they made over double the amount of films in a year in comparison to Hollywood. I thought the statistics in it were really interesting, especially how they said their revenue increased by 20% over COVID, even though we're basically in a recession. And I don't know, my theory on that is our consumption of entertainment would have obviously increased over COVID. And I'm not saying creative careers will save people's lives in the same way that doctors will, but we did heavily rely on entertainment over the industry. And I think it's good to see that the industry is valued and, that there's an increase in revenue. It shows the importance of creativity to everyone. And yeah, I just want to add that I like June and I'm interested in seeing the new film. But yeah, it was really interesting, very informative. That was good.
Yeah, I saw an interesting fact that they said from 2010 till now, there has been more films made between that period of time than prior to 2010, to the start of when films originally be made, because so many films are being made on a yearly basis. People are no longer just consumers, but they're also producers. So it's amazing what people are doing, and people are making some amazing films from just their bedroom. So what do you think, Sean?
Yeah, for me, a lot of interesting facts. One of the key ones that stood out for me is the fact that they was saying there that they were expecting a growth of another 25%, because they said they already have 10% of the market, which for me is amazing to have that much growth in such a short space of time. They expect that in next year. So that was impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting knowing that as well, that they are already creating also VFX for like adverts and stuff like that as well. Obviously, we consume a lot of adverts and things like that. Obviously, you know, Ladies Love has even been in a few, Mr. Popular. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Like you look at all these things around you, you know, you see like shows, television programs and stuff like that. And you always think you know a lot more about it than you actually do. And then just seeing that kind of like opens your eyes to the fact that actually some of the work that you're seeing the end result of is actually produced to some degree in India. And then also seeing the numbers that I think it was UP who said about them not getting paid, like, well, they're getting paid quite low salaries. But then I was thinking at the same time, I was like, well, in India, that might be equivalent to a lot of money, because I think the senior level visual effects artists, they said was getting like 1,500 or something like that.
Was
and
it
I know for
$1,500 or pounds? Was it
yeah,
dollars?
I think it was dollars. Yeah. Which I know, obviously, for England, that would be like not good at all as a salary. But I'm saying for India, maybe it is. I really don't know. Like, it depends on what part of India, maybe as well.
I hope their electricity bill is not going up as high as it is over here, because that would just about cover their electricity bill.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Yeah, but yeah, no, there was just so many interesting facts. Those are a few of the ones that stood out for me. But overall, yeah, I have seen obviously a lot of the films as well. So it was interesting knowing the companies and the groups that are behind it as well, I suppose, to know what they was involved in. Seeing that clip of the watch, which I'm guessing they did some graphics on, actually made me want to buy one. So I was like, obviously great work there. But other than that, I mean, overall, it was very informative. And yeah, it's fantastic that they're able to grow and capitalize on so much of the market, really.
Yeah, I agree with the other guys. I would say that the most interesting points for me were, again, what you guys touched on in terms of the salary. I didn't feel like that was indicative of what maybe a person with that talent should get, but maybe in India, because I know, for example, with software engineers and developers, which is a huge like career path in India, they get paid way more in the UK and then even more in the US compared to what they get paid over in India for that career. Because computer engineering and computer science is one of the most studied, degrees or, basically qualifications you can get in India. So yeah, and they get paid a lot more in the UK and then even more in the US. So I think with other careers, it's going to be similar. And I've also personally noticed in some of my like favorite films of recent years, so a couple of them were in there, Interstellar, and also I did like Dune, even though I thought it was a bit long. But anyway, that's another point. These movies, they're epic movies, and obviously they require big graphics and effects. And the special effects that you saw in these sort of massive epic movies, I noticed in the credits there's loads more Indian names in recent years than before. So obviously Indians, despite the point that was made where like Indians traditionally, family-wise and parents' expectations for their kids to go into certain career paths like medicine or engineering or whatever it may be, lawyers and stuff like that, there are talented kids out there in terms of these kind of career paths. And so more and more people are doing it and making it, clearly, because obviously their names are in the credits and they're responsible for some of the best sort of special effects out there in these movies. So it was interesting to see, and it makes me feel a little proud as an Indian to see that this is happening, because you wouldn't have guessed this 20 years ago, but now they are responsible for such important work in big movies.
I totally agree. It's amazing how far India's visual effects industry has come, especially even since as recent as Bahubali till now, and you're seeing even RRR and quite a lot of films that you're just looking on the landscape and what they're able to create, and it's kind of mind-blowing. Two of the most emerging markets that I've been watching a lot lately is the Indian market and the Korean market. It's just like what they're doing in both of those markets is, yeah, it's something to be proud of. Hey,
makes it feel like the Western world is a bit lazy.
Yeah, especially considering the budgets that they're working on. That was our reaction to Is India taking over the VFX industry? I hope you like it. I hope you like our feedback and our discussion. If you have anything to say, make sure that you write it in the comment section. We will be reading it. For now, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share, and check us out on Patreon. That is all the best. And this is the Chatterbox crew. Peace.